Welcome to the April 1st, 2026 Cottonwood Heights Planning Commission business session. We're glad to have everybody here in the audience. It's a beautiful day. You guys have a much better, actually, no, we've got a great view from here. You guys have a great view as well. Um, we are going to start off with any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest to disclose for the matters this evening.
No. No.
No. Do not see any. So we will move forward to the general public comment period. Please note in the general public comment period, this will not be in relation to anything that is the business item on the agenda for the evening. So any other comments that are off of the business items, we will also have comments during the business item period as well. You are welcome to come up and speak. Seeing none, we will close the general public comment period and move forward to the business items project CUP-26-004, in which we will be reviewing and take possible action on a conditional use permit request by Jared Park for an exception to allow a second driveway at 1720 East, 6670 South.
All right, thank you, everyone. So as was mentioned, this is for a second driveway exception. This is going to be a conditional use permit. And the address is 1720 East, 6670 South. As a brief summary of this proposed project, so the applicant is Jared Park. Again, there's the address listed. I've also included a satellite view of the subject property, and our recommendations are to approve a second driveway with conditions. As some additional background, the property owner is requesting approval for a second driveway to serve their property. The homeowner is currently working on a building permit to add an internal accessory dwelling unit, ADU, which requires an additional parking spot. The presence of mature trees and other landscaping would make a regular permitted circular driveway approach impractical for this property. So adding a second driveway that's not connected to their existing driveway would be a better solution to access the proposed ADU while maintaining the existing landscaping as best as possible. I've included sections of the driveway code related to this request. Driveway code states that single-family dwellings shall be permitted only one access unless a circular driveway approach is utilized. But later in the code, it says that in cases where unusual topographical, aesthetic, or other exceptional conditions or circumstances exist, variations or exceptions to the requirements of the chapter may be approved by the City Council after receiving recommendations from the City's Planning Commission and the Department, provided that the variation or exceptions are not detrimental to the public safety or welfare. Here is an aerial image of the proposed second driveway location, and it is located further from the property line than is required by code. So it's 6 feet away, I think, is what's being proposed. Here is an image showing the proposed driveway location in addition to the proposed home addition. Like I stated earlier, the home addition is going through the building permit process right now. And then the internal ADU is going to be located on the eastern side of the home. I brought this project to our engineers and our public works department. Their only comment was that they would just ask that the applicant maintains a clear sight distance triangle at the proposed driveway entrance. So just within the limits of this clear sight triangle, they would just need to keep all landscaping, including trees and shrubs, trimmed to a maximum height of 3 feet for 15 feet back from the driveway. And then here is an approximate proposed driveway location from the street view. Staff findings find that even though the lot has sufficient width to accommodate a circular driveway, so it has at least 35 feet between the proposed driveway and the existing driveway, as the applicant stated, this design would result in unnecessary costs, removal of existing landscaping, and unnecessary disruption to the site. So a second separate driveway approach would minimize site disturbance, reduce project costs, and preserve some of the existing mature trees. City Council, as stated earlier, can grant exceptions to driveway standards in cases with unusual topographical, aesthetic, or other exceptional conditions, subject to a recommendation from Planning Commission. So based on the applicant's narrative and site plan, this request demonstrates the presence of aesthetic and site-related constraints that justify the consideration of an exception. Staff does recommend approval of this application with some conditions. So we just ask that the second driveway approach should be constructed in substantial conformance with the approved site plan and materials submitted with this application. That the second driveway approach will not be constructed until an ADU license application has been approved. That the applicant will obtain all required permits, including a building permit and any applicable engineering or right-of-way permits before constructing the driveway and ADU improvements. That the driveway approach will comply with all applicable city standards, and that any work within the public right-of-way will be reviewed and approved by the city. That the approval of this exception is specific to the site and proposal as currently submitted, and that the internal ADU and associated parking will comply with all provisions in the code. There's that.
Thank you, Emma. Moving forward, we will move to a public hearing on this conditional use permit, which will allow anyone here to speak in regards to this project. We will open up to the public hearing now. During the public hearing, you will have 3 minutes to speak. And during that 3 minutes, if you represent any HOA or any organization, we can increase that time as well for the public hearing period. I see no one here for the public hearing, so we will close the public hearing period and move. Oh,
My presence or attendance.
yeah, actually, we'll have you come up. Yeah.
Having never done this before, I wasn't sure if I was just waiting for rebuttals from someone else. So, yeah, what can I answer for you that Emma hasn't described?
I think this one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a great use, and we're excited to see more ADUs being utilized within the city, especially with the attainable and affordable housing crisis that the county and the state are seeing. So, this is a great use, and truly hope it's going to be a major success for you.
I hope too. Thank you. Yeah.
I think one question we had was about landscaping. There's a very large tree on the west side, kind of where it's showing the driveway is going to go. What is
Yeah.
the plan for for landscaping?
So those are the trees that she mentioned that we don't want to disturb. They're set far enough back that they don't obstruct line of sight, but they do just add some beauty to the neighborhood. My neighbor across the street, his only concern with this project has been that he didn't want to lose those trees. So they provide shade for him, and so we don't want to lose those. But all of the shrubbery, the Fitzers that are there will all come out so that there's no obstruction from those.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? All right.
I think we're good.
Thank you for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Emma.
We've also closed public hearing period as well. So moving forward into commission deliberation. And as we do so, Commissioner Shelton brought up a really great point in our work session that I believe would be worthwhile for the staff to get in front of the council in regards to items like this, especially when the lot frontage is sufficient for, the access, the dual access. We believe that we should propose some additional code amendments that could allow for just administrative approval on something like this, just for staff hours. And with it already being 2 access sites, I think it would make a lot of sense. So anything further that you guys wanted to discuss on this?
Maybe just for staff, and when the public safety does their review with the triangle, I mean, I just Heber City Code allows for trees basically in all forms as long as they're trimmed up to 8 feet. So I don't know that would be a problem here, but just in the future, just because we do love to have these mature trees solve so many problems for us as a community, that I would love for us, that would be another housekeeping thing, that when we, rather than it just be those trees have got to come down for line of sight, if they're just bottom branches cleared, that shouldn't be an issue. So
Yeah, we
there's
can reach
precedent.
out to Public Works too and see what their thoughts are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Can I just ask a clarification on approval denial? aren't we making a motion to do a recommendation? We're not approving the project, aren't
Oh,
we?
yes, sorry about that. Yes, so yeah, recommending it to. city
I'm
council.
recommending approval
Yeah.
to the, okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Wonderful. We're ready.
I move to recommend to the city council project CUP-26-004 pursuant to the finding and recommendation listed in the item staff report dated April 1st.
We have a motion from Commissioner Shelton.
Did you say approve?
Recommend.
Oh,
Recommend. I'll second that.
and a second from Commissioner Anderson. Let's move to the voting on this. Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes.
Commissioner Steinman, yes. And project CUP 26 was recommended, or CUP-26-004 was recommended for approval to send to the council members. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Chair. Commissioner Polson has his hand raised. Online.
Oh, we have commissioners online. Okay. Commissioner, we're getting a lot of feedback on this.
It's one
Yeah,
of their.
I would vote for that, but I just wanted to be included in the vote.
Commissioner Polson.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. I can. Can you
Okay,
vote yes as well?
I just wanted to be included on the vote. I would recommend voting for this.
Wonderful. I apologize for not seeing you online.
Commissioner Lugo is also online.
And Commissioner Lugo is on.
That's a yes for me too.
Okay, wonderful. You guys will be included on this vote as well. Thank you. Moving on to project CUP-26-005. Sheldon has a presentation on this.
Okay, the next item on the agenda for this evening is a conditional use request for a convenience store located at 7825 South Highland Drive. The applicant is Sammy Banizari, and he is here this evening as well. The subject property is located, as mentioned, at 7825 South Highland Drive. The zoning designation for this area is neighborhood commercial, and staff does recommend approval with conditions. Part of the request, and as submitted by the applicant in the applicant's narrative, the applicant is requesting approval to operate a convenience store within the existing Cottonwood Creek Plaza, with the hours of operation from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The applicant anticipates about 50 customers per day and 1 to 2 employees per shift. Part of the sales, as outlined in the applicant's narrative, would be prepackaged food and drink options for both on-site and takeaway consumption, limited grocery options such as milk, bread, eggs, and similar staples. Speaking with the applicant, he does state that he is willing to, increase these grocery options based on demand from residents. If they make a request to stock something specifically, he's more than welcome to accommodate those requests. In addition, there will be stocking household sundries, which essentially are, toothpaste, laundry detergent, just knickknacks. In addition to that, they are requesting, they are providing tobacco products for sale from this location. The sale of these products would be limited to their license through the Salt Lake Health Department, the Salt Lake County Health Department, which would be a general tobacco's retailer's license. Part of the proposal does not include any exterior, interior, or site changes as proposed, as the applicant will be utilizing the a tenant space that was previously occupied by Beehive Blend CBD. A little background on the site here. The site is 1.87 acres. There's a 24,000 square foot multi-tenant building on site, which has a mix of uses consisting of gym fitness centers. There's the title boxing there. There's a little gym, there as well. The restaurant, there's a restaurant, personal care services, professional offices, medical therapy, medical and therapy type uses. These are more like rehabs. In addition to that, parking and access is all shared among all tenants on the site. This slide here just, just showing the zoning map as, confirming that the zoning is neighborhood commercial for this particular site, and the location of the proposed convenience store. As mentioned, it would be taking the original space that the Beehive Blend CBD business was operated from. The floor plan the applicant has provided is showing the lease area is 1,280 square feet. Approximately 800 square feet of that will be the retail front of house area, and the remaining 480 square feet will be back of house, consisting of storage, office, and restrooms. Upon review of the application and the narrative provided by the applicant, staff did find that it did meet the standards outlined in city code, as well as the requirements under as listed under our conditional use requirements, such as adverse impacts to public health, safety, and general welfare. Moving on, as mentioned, the applicant is looking to sell tobacco products from this convenience store. As mentioned, they did acquire a general tobacco retailer's license from the Salt Lake County Health Department. This limits the sales of tobacco. Typically, would be what you'd find, going to a gas station or a convenience store, just a small display tobacco products, which would be for sale, and being primarily, an accessory use and subordinate to the primary use. So therefore, in this case, the primary sales from this convenience store should be foods and goods and et cetera, not necessarily tobacco products. The second license you can receive through the state for the sale of tobacco products is a tobacco specialty shop license. That's where the main, sales of that business actually are comprised of tobacco sales. In that case, would be tobacco sales that exceed 35% of total quarterly sales, the inventory consists of more 20% of floor space, shelf space, or storage space. In this particular case, tobacco specialty shops are not permitted in the neighborhood commercial zone. And in addition to that, subject to state separation requirements, they would not be allowed to operate that type of business there, as there are schools within 600 feet of that property, within 100 feet of that property, which again would be in violation of the state requirements for a tobacco specialty shop. Moving on, as far as parking goes, for all 6 uses, including convenience stores, according to the ITE parking generation manual, 92 stalls would be required to park this site with all these uses. The site contains 115 stalls, and therefore staff does find the application compliant with the minimum parking requirements. It doesn't merit a traffic impact study being imposed for the use. Noticing was sent out 10 days ago prior to this meeting, notifying people within 300 feet of this business of the intent of the applicant. We did not receive any notices through that 10-day period, but we did receive one last night, which would be the end of the 10-day period. And that brought some issues to attention to staff and some concerns. Part of that, concern that was submitted by the resident, they did provide some imageries that are more consistent with what you'd find in a tobacco specialty shop than you would find in a convenience store. So that did arise some questions from staff and from the commission as well. Here, you're showing examples of, a lot of tobacco products and supplement keratin products. There's some CDB products, again, more keratin. There's some nitrous oxide products and torches and et cetera. These are something you consistently would not find in a convenience store. Again, as we mentioned, that, does bring up some questions with staff and the commission and how to address this to ensure that the use that's being proposed is meeting that standard, as outlined in city code. Again, here's more images of the interior of the store that were provided by the resident. Again, here on the left image here, you do see something similar you'd see to a convenience store where you have a small display of tobacco products. To the right there, you see something that's, again, more consistent with what you'd find in a tobacco specialty shop. That being said, again, if the commission can find that these conditions can be remedied through conditions of approval, staff does recommend approval with these conditions or any additional conditions the commission may recommend.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sheldon. And do we have the applicant here?
Yeah, the applicant is here, yes.
Wonderful. Before we go to the public hearing on this, would the applicant like to come up and discuss?
Yes, I'm here. Whatever the city want, just let me know. I'll just display it the way they want. As I don't know if the city knows, I do have a smoke shop just down the street on 1700 and Fort Union. But that one, the employee set it up that way. They didn't know. But we'll change it, whatever the requirement of the city, how do they want it, not big deal. I mean, the city still have the license and they renew every year. If they don't renew it, I'll make sure the city will be happy with the way it looks. So.
How would you kind of differentiate the operations of the business at the new location versus your other location?
That one will be basically what the neighborhood needs.
What do you see the neighborhood needs there?
I'm applying for tobacco license. I'm applying for a beer license and that location as a convenience store. And whatever, as convenience store, whatever convenience store carry, that's what we're gonna carry there.
What would your definition of convenience store be as far as your day-to-day business operations that would be outside of tobacco and beer?
Well, daily need of the neighborhood, toothpaste, toothbrush, chips, drink, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you believe that will be within the compliance as far as the ratios in regards to tobacco sales to the other items of sales?
Absolutely. The neighborhood is so big there. I think there will be, and then there is a gym there for drink and any, basic daily use stuff. I think will be just great for that.
Were the current stations that were in there, what was the expectation of inventory that you're going to be putting in those glass boxes?
I haven't even decided what. They just moved some stuff from the other store to there. I haven't even decided what I'm going to put there, really.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Do you have a business plan for this location?
yeah, as a convenience store, that's nothing really specific. So, but it's a convenience store. I'm going to carry whatever convenience store needs. And I'm going to put a list there for the neighborhood, whatever the neighborhood request and they use in that neighborhood, I'm going to just carry it there.
Do you have a floor plan layout that you are planning on before opening as far as, where you're placing?
The layout of the store.
As far as your FF&E, your furniture, fixtures, and equipment, do you have a proposed, where you're putting inventory management?
We're going to have display on the side and then racks in the middle.
As far as signage goes, have you worked with the city in regards to the signage that is in place currently?
First I have to make sure they approve the license. If not, I haven't applied for the sign.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the sign required, I will just put it the way they say you want. So.
Okay.
And the owner, of course, because that
Absolutely
has to go through the owner.
Any other questions from the commission? Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now move to the public hearing for CUP-26-005? And if you could please state your name, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Your clock's off. Hasn't been updated. David Kazarian. I live on Forest Bend Drive, just to the west of this over here. As I listened to your previous meeting, I was struck that there are already laws to prevent people from being injured in this community, as was stated, and proximity to high schools, a challenger school, etc., I think ought to be a major consideration in this decision. And I also can see that from the pictures that have been displayed, it does not look like any convenience store I've ever been in. And so I would question what a convenience store is and ask you to question the same thing. And I will just end with that. And thank you for your work. Appreciate you keeping us all safe and doing your job.
Thank you. Any others for the public hearing? I see none, so we will close the public hearing and move to commission deliberation. And we do have Mike and Lugo online as well. So if you do desire to talk, just make sure you raise your hand and I will keep an eye on that as well. So as we move forward into this, we had discussed many of the conditions that we believe are adequate for us to observe within what we see as a convenience store. Within the neighborhood commercial zone of our community, everything is a conditional use. So the Planning Commission sees these applications come for it. We have had other areas within this where there's not enough clarity of understanding of definitions of what that use is. And our role is to approve these with conditions. And I believe with this, there's many different details that we would want to require within this space and look from a condition standpoint. From one of those areas, I believe a floor plan, business plan, pro forma, and inventory list of conditions that we would want to be seeing on this space. Unfortunately, the situation with the tobacco licensing is public information, and understanding that it was applied for a specialty tobacco shop previously and is now transitioned to more of the general tobacco shop. Intentions are everything, and keeping this community safe is a very important position of the city as well as the commission and council within what land use is. And proximity to schools, proximity to daycares and the facilities that we're talking about. Having a specialty tobacco shop in this location would be incredibly detrimental. And a specialty tobacco shop that serves a specific use, I believe, has a specific area in a community, which is already designated within code. So with that, I believe a lot of the conditions we do need to require a condition of better understanding inventory and better understanding the business, summary of what the business is that meets within the convenience store, and understand, both to be able to obtain the business license as well as get the appropriate land use designation here, I believe we really need to properly evaluate that. I know that the commissioners here have other comments in regards to this, and I believe we need to be diligent because I think safety is an important component here, and we are close to 3 schools, and we're actually within proximity that would make this illegal to be run as a specialty tobacco shop today due to the proximity. So with the denial of being a specialty tobacco shop, we need to make sure this will not be a specialty tobacco shop. So I would propose for us to have not only the floor plans and inventory list and pro formas that are associated and business plan that's associated with this. I would also propose a monthly check-in for inventory as well as business operations to ensure that it is maintained within compliance, as well as if we do find that it is out of compliance, the conditional use permit would be revoked immediately. And those are just a couple that I have in my notes here, and I'm sure commissioners have some additional. We take this very seriously, and we want to ensure safety within the community, and as well as we see a convenience store in this location being such a wonderful asset to the community. Truly, I think that with the apartments there and being able to go and get eggs and bread, just as they had displayed in their application, eggs, bread, milk, those types of needs that you can find in a typical convenience store, I think that'd be incredibly advantageous for the community there. But the way that it does stand, we want to ensure that we maintain compliance and proper administration of that. Anything further from the commission?
Well, I think as we're talking about these additional conditions, it's in relation to one of our roles as the Planning Commission is to ensure things are not approved that are detrimental to the health of the community, which is why we have talked about these additional conditions. Another one I'd mention, I believe we talked about, is that there needs to be a site inspection by staff, Cottonwood Heights staff, prior to the issuance of the business license. So I think because we're seeing on display now, I believe products that are illegal, and the space is certainly more than 20% comprised of tobacco products. So I think that's where all of this is coming from, wanting to ensure that we're continuing to look out for the health of the Cottonwood Heights community. So I believe I think there's 5 conditions that we have talked about that. And then also maybe we want, I know I'm not making a motion right now, but maybe we want to talk about not making any final decision today, asking for some information, if it could be possible to, because we do have a meeting scheduled in 2 weeks because it's the beginning of the quarter. So we do have 2 meetings this month, being able to get the information we're asking for by that time from the applicant. If not, we could hear it in May. That wasn't a motion. It was just a thought, just a suggestion.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson.
When we discuss possible conditions, I think of 3 things I think would help. But I think that the mechanism would be a site visit by staff, and appreciate the willingness of staff that you might be able to stop by to help. And I would recommend at intervals. I mean, I don't have a prescriptive number in mind, but if it's just stopping by for 10 or 15 minutes to give the applicant feedback so that they don't have to play guess what we're thinking a little bit. But number 1, demonstrating that they're using only 20% of the wall space, and some of that will be evidenced by removal of the glass display cases, which is more characteristic of a smoke shop, and replacing it with appropriate convenience store displays with the wide open definition of what constitutes appropriate for a convenience store to place, just not glass cases that look like a smoke shop, basically anything else. And then the third and final would be just verifying inventory was headed towards that 65%, 35% roughly ratio of whatever the items that the convenience store would hold. And I appreciate the applicant's comment that I'm trying to see what the community wants outside of, I would say, what the community wants outside of smoke products. So, and that obviously will take a little bit in any business when you're opening up, trying to figure out what people want and what will sell. And so that obviously is some risk for the applicant in that prospect. But I mean, that's what it is to go into business. So, but site visits to verify those things. And in my mind, you know, that could be walk in and done in, frankly, 5 minutes unless you get chatty. So, I mean, I think that would be, I think it's good, just hygiene, just in interacting with an applicant. To one of the criticisms of us as a city sometimes is that we are, applicants are trying to guess what we're thinking. And I appreciate the applicant's desire, that his leading statement that he would like to do whatever the city would like. And so let's try to help elucidate that a little bit and make it more clear. So those three conditions with the site visit to either facilitate or validate.
And that's on top of the 5 conditions on the screen currently.
Correct. Yeah, I do think that those other conditions are still critical and important. And I know this is a large number of conditions, but we, as you've made the point, Chair and others, that this is not like any other portion of the city. To have 3 educational institutions that are within that radius, and in addition to housing, this is like special category in order to even do a convenience store in this area. So I think it's just good hygiene that we're adding some, especially where the code does not have as much direction for us.
Thank you.
I appreciate the eloquence with which my other fellow commissioners have spoken about this. I think it's a great idea to have a convenience store in this area, and I would vote in favor of that if it's a convenience store. I think the anxiety that I sense is that this may be more or other than a convenience store or have other purposes in mind. And I appreciate Mr. Banazure's, I hope I didn't butcher that name too much, expression of his willingness to comply with the expectations. And I don't think our job is to create or inappropriate expectations or an excessive burden on people who are trying to do business here. But as has been stated already, I think we do have an obligation to assure that this fits well within the community. Products like kratom, nitrous oxide, and other things I don't think fit well within our community. I think products like milk and eggs and laundry detergent fit very well. And if that's the focus of the business, then that's fine with me. But if it looks like it's going in the other direction, even if it's a legit smoke shop, that doesn't belong in our community here.
Within this zone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there are places.
We have zoning that does fit within.
Right.
Yes.
So I agree with the suggestions and requirements that have been suggested already.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith.
Sure.
I guess I just have a confusion about where we're going here. It sounds like we're talking about recommending approval with these 5 and a handful more. Are we recommending that that we would do that today? We would. Or do we have further a recommendation that we would have to have something before we would consider approval?
Yeah, I believe that we do need to receive additional details from the applicant in regards to inventory list, the business model that will be going in here that will be compliant with the convenience store, and the inventory to ensure that we are not exceeding the 65% ratio of tobacco products.
I guess I would just say this. I think a conditional use approval here is the approval to operate a convenience store. And so they must demonstrate every day, if they get this approval, that they are operating a convenience store. Maybe what we're saying here is the definition of convenience store is not very well laid out. But the approval that's in front of us is to say, can they operate a convenience store? And that's, to me, that's the question before us. I think most of what we've said is, we're afraid you're not going to operate a convenience store. If they don't, they have no approval from us. So I think for me, the question is, can they operate a convenience store there? And if they're operating a convenience store, what additional requirements do we ask of them because of the impact of a convenience store, not because of the impact of something that's not a convenience store, which is a tobacco specialty? So I've said that before. That's my position. I just wanted to say it here.
Commissioner Shelton, I found your argument compelling in our work session about and that for me, adding those conditions and staff's willingness to do the on-site, for me, this is a pathway through to allow for that, to approve. And the only hesitation I had going into our discussion in the other room was having potentially 8 conditions seemed onerous, but the alternative is to table. And I mean, I, for one, I don't want to speak for anybody else, I could be comfortable if we have this full fleshed out list of conditions with potential approval today, if those conditions are met, because again, if it's a convenience store, it's a convenience store, and we are all comfortable if it's a convenience store, so.
So I would also concur with that. So is the thought that we are saying that if we would be comfortable with approval if the applicant provides the floor plan demonstrating typical layout of a convenience store, providing the business model, inventory list, agree that staff would agree to be doing site visits, and that the site inspection is required prior to business license issuance. We're asking that all those things have to be provided. And if those things are not provided, then this is not approved.
Correct.
I would feel comfortable with that.
Should we work on language? Do you want to make sure we get it right? I've got, so I want to make sure I captured, I added business plan to
Yeah,
the site visit included verifying 20% of the wall space, verifying inventory was 65-35, and verifying the,
Hold on. Inventory is 80-20.
excuse me, 80-20, excuse me, that's right. 80-20, that's right, correct. Verifying inventory 80-20. And floor plan, I feel strongly that glass display cases are not typical in a convenience store location, except for where the 20% is, where you would have a restriction for minors to be able to have access to grabbing whatever nicotine or tobacco products are being sold there appropriately, which means that the other 80% would not have glass display cases, which for that very small space would actually be to the applicant's advantage to give them more retail space, because there's no reason to restrict anything else. If you're not trying to be a smoke shop, you should welcome the idea that you're going to have the ability to push things up against the wall and sell more product and stock more product. So again, all that's to say, remove the glass display cases except for the 20% and demonstrate appropriate convenience store displays. Again, with the broadest staff discretion at what appropriate convenience store displays are. I would completely trust staff's judgment on their interpretation of that. And then last of all, that they would provide a business plan. So those are the 4.
Comfortable with that?
I do have some concerns, excuse me, about putting the responsibility on staff to make a judgment about that without some more specific guidance.
And staff, how do you guys feel about that?
I guess my concern, as long as the conditions are objective and not subjective, that'd be my biggest concern, right?
Right.
Just saying, what typically looks like a convenience store, right? I guess that can be somewhat subjective.
I believe that the 80-20 is a more important component.
It's kind of a belt and suspenders anyway,
Yeah.
because the 80-20 gives you the metric that really matters. This is just, it really is subjective, and it's a hope that you get to that 80.
And and it's a redundancy of state statute as well.
Yeah, it is.
So I do like that we have some additional redundancies that are a part of our site visits that we can refer to state statute as well with.
And the site visit at intervals was designed to just allow you at your discretion. You guys are busy. And so, but having one early and one as they kind of respond to your feedback a little bit. And there, I think any number of things could intervene for the applicant that they would, be trying to get product in or get things removed, and any number of things that it may be on a different time frame. But I just think it's just good hygiene. If you get down there 3 times, before they open, to just say, hey, listen, let's see how you're doing.
As far as window signage, what is our current window signage and signage code display?
There is some state code here too.
Yeah, I was just looking at it a little bit ago. I think it's 15% coverage for window sign. Let me just pull it up. I've got it in front of me.
Well, the concern I have is that when to advertise that you're selling cigarettes and cigars, I don't believe you can do that if it's for the convenience store. I don't think you can put that on your signage. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a temporary sign that that is up right now, but that couldn't be displayed on the exterior of the building.
Sheldon, will you spin back to the state recommendation or the state requirements? There is a marketing component to that I think is important that we highlight for the applicant. So the business cannot be marketed primarily as a tobacco retailer. That's what state code says. I don't know. It's more specific than that.
I think it is more specific. I think the word cigarette and cigar are listed, if I'm not mistaken. That's been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and this list here is actually just summarized from some of the requirements from the state statute. So
For sure. I'm comfortable you guys will do the deep dive on that. So.
But I don't mind adding that to our list as well, that the business can't be marketed primarily as a tobacco retailer.
You guys feel comfortable you captured all that? That was kind of a wander. Yeah. Do you want to restate it just for the record to make sure that I'd hate for there to be a gotcha in minutes down the road.
Okay. Well, I guess site inspections by staff through the duration of him converting the store, stocking the store, right? I guess before that, we'd probably want to see a floor plan first provided to staff, and then kind of some supervision throughout that process. And then prior to issuing a business license, staff would do a site inspection to ensure that they are in compliance with state and city statutes at that point, especially the 20-80% ratio for tobacco products. Then I guess upon operation, the staff would perform quarterly inspections or periodic inspections on site to ensure they're still in compliance.
And then the business plan as a condition, and that the business would not be marketed in its advertising, the exterior signage not marketed as a primarily tobacco establishment.
I think the other item we talked about is for the applicant to provide an inventory list.
I think they captured that after opening. Sheldon, is that correct? Did you capture it on your list?
I didn't check it out.
The 80/20?
I meant an overall inventory list. of
Oh,
those.
inventory list?
Just to have the applicant provide it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for you to.
Yeah, my expectations, that would be something somewhat general. As he mentioned, he's not exactly sure what to stock at the store. But I guess a pretty good overview, I think would be acceptable.
Okay.
Not like just every specific item he's going to stock, right? I guess by more or less by category, like maybe candies, breads, canned goods. Is that sufficient, I guess? Not
Yeah,
necessarily.
I think that's important on the site visit. That's not an email. That's just, just drop in.
And then I think the other thing that we also talked about is the business cannot be marketed as tobacco retailer as a condition. So these would all be added to when we do a motion stating that these things
Correct.
are then,
Things that we just talked about.
Yeah, I counted 5 in addition, so a total of 13, I think, beyond the 8.
And I might just suggest that those drop-in visits be somewhat unscheduled and unpredictable.
Who would like to?
I will make the motion
But the-
if you'd
thank you.
like, Chair. I move that we approve project CUP-26-005 pursuant to the conditions outlined in the staff report with the additional 5 items as outlined in discussion.
Second.
We have a first and a second. And staff, are you comfortable with everything that we have outlined?
Yeah.
Wonderful. We will now move to the vote. And we do have 2 commissioners online as well. And we will start with Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Sheldon,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
yes,
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes.
Commissioner Polson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lugo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Steinman, yes. Thank you. We will now move on to the Section 4 consent agenda, which is the approval of March 4th, 2026 Planning Commission minutes. Has everyone had time to review these?
yes.
Any proposed motions on this currently?
I make a motion that we approve the March 4, 2026 Planning Commission minutes as outlined.
Commissioner Anderson, motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Smith seconds the consent agenda approval. And I believe we can go all together on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is the adjourning.
I make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor? Oh, we've got a first from Commissioner Anderson, second from Commissioner Mills. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.